Welcome back to Northwest City Politics in the Know with Juanita. We're glad that you're watching our show again this week. We're always happy for people like you that are interested in what's happening in our cities up in the Northwest area. It's important for good government that there be people that are following what's happening in the cities and they interact with the mayors and the city councils and the city staff. That's when good government can happen. So we're glad that you're interested. If you haven't watched our show before, each week we'll have someone on from one of the 9 cities in CCX's viewing area to fill us in on what are the current and up-and-coming projects in that city. And we encourage you, if it's your city, be sure to take down the phone number and email, and then if some of those topics really resonate and are important to you, you can be in contact with our guest or with your city. So we're glad to have you with us. And we're glad to have Mayor Jeff Lunde with us from Brooklyn Park.
Thank you.
You've been an ongoing source of information about our city. We appreciate your coming.
Yep.
And so I'm going to have you introduce yourself out to our wider audience. Yep. People in Brooklyn Park probably are familiar with you, but the other cities they might not. So Tell us a little bit about your time in Brooklyn Park.
Yeah, so I'm currently mayor of Brooklyn Park, serving my second term. I've been resident since '97, I think it is. My wife is a lifelong resident, and we're married and have 2 sons that go to school in Jackson Middle School and the Champlain Brooklyn Park Academy. So kind of active, getting more into youth sports and stuff like that. And so, with summer approaching, things are getting a little bit, getting busy in many ways. So
we're glad to have you with us. Well, we talked about some issues ahead of time, and we'll start out with one of the big issues that your city is working on is that you have a park system plan, and it's something that you do like over a 10-year period. Am I right?
Yep, it's part of a plan. I think it's really a build up to the end of next year.
Okay.
The park bond ends. So 20 years ago, they passed a park bond, paid for golf course, Edinburgh, USA, paid for parks, paid for a lot of amenities on equipment and things like that, and that ends. And so the question that the voters are going to have to decide, if we put it to a vote, is what do you want for the next 20 years? Do you want another park bond? Do you want to renew it? Do you want to say no? And so there's a lot of things, not just should we have one, but what are we getting for it?
Oh, definitely.
And so people, I think, tend to say, okay, here's the plan. I'm going to invest in a plan. They don't invest in a promise, they invest in a plan. And so we're spending this year developing that plan and understanding what do people want.
Oh, sure.
What do we don't have that people want? What do people think that we should modify? So we're going to spend some time.
Well, and recreational needs have been changing over the last 10 years, I think quite a bit.
Yes. Yep. I think so. That, there's a lot of, like a lot of cities, we use new development to fund parks. And with, we've got 1,000 acres left. By the time this bond would end, we'll be fully developed. And so we need to have a funding source and figure out how we're going to fund parks, the equipment, things like that. And a lot of the, like you said, the sports have changed. And so how do you get that? And there's talks about, should we have turf? Which people used to think is a luxury, but now it's not a luxury. Because if you take 10 years of grass versus 10 years of AstroTurf, it's the same price. But you could use 7 by 24. Grass, you can't do that. And so there's a different usage thing. So, but once you say I put a turf down in 10 years, you got to replace it. So you have to commit to a program. So there's many different things we're trying to figure out now. But I think, we want to ask the residents, what do they think?
Now, this is going to be based starting on what your old plan was.
Yes.
So where could people look at the old plan if this is an area that interests them, if they want to say, okay, where are we starting from? What have we done up to now?
The best place to send them is out to brooklynpark.org website. There's on the landing page, there's a link to the system plan, and there's an opportunity for people to take a look at what we had, what's being proposed. Also to say, hey, well, here's my feedback. Here's what I want to do, and maybe it's I want a swimming pool. That's a topic comes up all the time. Yet somehow we can't build one, and so I think that people are asking some good questions.
And then there is an actual survey that you want to encourage people to fill out for you.
Yep. If you don't speak, we won't listen.
So
so you need to fill that out.
So be sure to go on the website give back your feedback if you live in Brooklyn Park.
Yes. Yep. And we actually have asked residents, people who are non-residents, but who come to the city for park services.
Sure. Yeah, they
because,
do.
People forget we have so many overlapping school districts that we want to hear from users, a lot of youth, sports associations that cross borders.
Oh, of course.
And so we need to have those involved as well.
And so you've started on the process of gathering input, and it'll go through like January is when you're hoping
I think what the idea is, come January, we come back to the council with here's the results.
Okay.
The council can make a decision at that time. We're not going to put this up for vote.
Right.
We're not going to do a new bond.
Right.
But if we do a bond, I think the entire council says we're going to put that before the voters.
Oh, sure.
So if we choose to do a bond at any level, we're going to ask the voters to approve it. And that would be the election of next year, 2018. And so we're just saying to people, let's provide a plan.
Right.
Get the feedback. We have ideas. So do the residents. Let's put all that stuff together and see the price tag, because sometimes you have a lot of great ideas.
Right.
And then you go, oh my goodness.
I don't know if we
can't afford that.
Right.
But it's good to have that kind of idea. What do people want?
Oh, definitely.
Aspirational goals. So
now, since this is an ongoing process, if people are interested in following it and knowing where you're at in the process, or if there's a particular area they want to find, they can sign up for email updates,
yes,
right?
Absolutely. Yep, just go out to the website. You can do the survey. Once you do the survey, you'll be added to the update list. And that way you can do your own feedback right there. You can come to the listening sessions about once, I believe it's once every 3 or 4 weeks. Somewhere we have around the city, mostly based around parks. We have the opportunity for people to come and listen in person and talk about things.
Yeah, because one of them will have already gone by, but then we'll post it that, let me look, that June 20th.
Yep.
It'll be at Birch Grove Elementary.
Yes.
And it goes from like about 6:30 to 8:30, right?
Yep.
Couple hours.
Yep, and people can come for part of it. They don't have to say the whole part. It's.
And then again on July 11th at Woodland Elementary.
What we try to do is get people, not so much this someone speaking, everyone sitting in the crowd listening. We try to get tables, we try to get conversations in. We'll take them, break up the tables and move people around, because people tend to sit by their friends and their friends tend to have the same views. Well, let's move people around so they get exposed. And some people are like, hey, wait a minute, I like that idea. And so they will be exposed to new stuff. So we like to kind of do that. We find that a better way to engage.
And so now the completion date, when do you hope that
I would expect, I believe by early next year, the council has to make a decision. Is it going to be on the ballot or not? I can't remember if it's 90 days notice, but pretty much I think we're thinking March.
Oh, okay.
We have to say it's going on the ballot this fall. Here's what it entails. Here's the details, and go from there. So there's a point at which, if we're going to put it on the ballot, we have a deadline.
Right. So it's important for people that are concerned about your park system that they get their insight and their input into it.
Yep, and to be absolute truth, there's also another flip side, is instead of having money go to service a bond debt, we could take that money and spend as we go on parks.
Okay.
We talk about a bond as the absolute. That isn't. But it takes a commitment by the city to say, okay, that $900,000 we spend on debt servicing, we're going to guarantee that. And that's one of the reasons people are like, they don't have the bond. Because I don't trust the council to do stuff. And so it's a switch. So there's a lot of questions.
Yeah, so it is a really important issue. And we hope that we'll encourage people out there to follow up on it themselves.
And they'll be hearing about it, whether they like it or not. They're going to hear about it. But you think about 20 years ago, the people in Brooklyn Park made a decision to invest in Brig USA. They had lots of parks. They made a lot of decisions to invest that money. And so now we are 20 years later, come to the same decisions on what we want to do with some things out there.
And so you got to get as much input as possible into the process.
Yeah, absolutely. Because this sets the plan.
Definitely.
Because I think when voters vote for something, they want to know, if we say we're doing these 10 things, we get those 10 things done.
Oh, definitely.
And if you do 11th, great, but you got to get what you said done. And so it's very specifics. On that.
So we'll encourage people get involved in the process. Now let's switch to a whole different topic. Let's talk a little bit about Brooklyn Park's police department, because you're doing some new training about community engagement. It's a part of your new recruit training. What does this entail? What is that?
A few things. One is to build those relationships. We've seen the news where things are not positive. Bad incidents leads to bad outcomes. And so we've been trying to work very hard, quietly, on building relationships. Most of all, we're trying to build the next generation of police officers. Because we know that you're not going to offer big money and scholarships to get officers. You need to get a kid who grows up thinking, I want to be a police officer. Because that's what most people want to be a police officer.
True. When they're young. Right.
And so too oftentimes people of diverse backgrounds hear the cops are the nemesis, right? That they're the enemy. And so they don't ever think of a career of them in a career.
Right.
And so we're trying to get to them young, trying to get them to understand, trust, see the process. And so we're using our cadet program to really drive. From cadets, we get them into our officers, CSOs, we get them into this conveyor belt. And we're very much, the city will help invest in their education. We will help them get to a career. And so we're starting to see some dividends paid off in our candidate pool. We're using preachers, pastors, community leaders to say, hey, there's a kid who's really sharp, and I think you make a good candidate. And so we go out there and we try to groom them.
Oh, sure.
And so we're very specific about it. We need to have a more diverse police department. It's absolutely critical.
Yeah, because that was the next question was, your city is diverse. How do you get your police department to be diverse?
Well, I think, it's a great question, right? And no one likes the answer. Here's the answer.
Okay.
There were 45 students statewide of diverse backgrounds in the entire state.
Wow.
There are 450 statewide police agencies. Do the math.
Yeah.
That means each of us have a 1 in 10 chance of getting one of these candidates. So it's a very tough. So before we even get to the people who want to be in there, the people going to school, it's not diverse there. So you have to start even younger.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's the problem for the whole state is we're not getting the students to even show up. I mean, and so if you're not getting the students, you're not going to get the officers.
Yeah, you've got to go way back.
If you're not getting people to show up, I mean, how do you get doctors? It occurs long before they go to medical school. They have to go with the degrees and all that stuff. So we know we have a problem statewide, and so the challenge is, if you just sit and wait for the schools to produce candidates, you have a 1 in 10 chance possibly. And so, and guess what, the FBI, we've lost a couple of diverse officers to the FBI. Good for them, right?
Right.
And so, but it makes it tougher. So we need to get kids engaged in hope that we can, get them to want to be a police officer, because it's not easy right now. I don't care what your race and background it is.
No, I would agree.
And so it's a tough job.
So it's your current police officers reaching out into the community.
Yes, trying to find and just trying to build relationships that people, could a kid say, God, I really like this officer. I want to be an officer. And that's how people, when people watch people and they go, hey, my dad was a farmer. I want to be a farmer. That you learn, people's careers tend to come from people they see. I don't know. I mean, some people go to school of wanting to be something. Right. But somewhere, a lot of people see something and they say, I'd really like to do that. Yeah. So
you got to get visibility out in your community.
They're not going to get paid enough. Right. They're not going to have the benefits. The job's not going to be stressless. To be plus, if a person wants to be a police officer, they really have to want it, because it's a tough job. Right. Yeah. It's stressful, but the dividends, the payback occurs in not in money, but in the value they give back to you.
And then you're also wanting to get your recruits out into the community as the new ones, the ones that are just starting. Can you share with us some of the experiences you're having them do? Yeah,
we're just trying to get them out and start to get, people. I just remember I went to a Latino congregation Christmas event. And the first year we introduced 2 CSOs, the Gomez's, not sister brother, even though everybody thinks. Latino officers, hard chargers, very skilled, outstanding cadets, right? Became CSOs. And they came back the next year and they're CSOs. And then the year after that, they came back and they're officers. And so they introduced them and they talked about, this is the officers. And the congregation was kind of clapping, cheering, because they've seen these 2 grow up in front of them. Right. And so there are kids in that group who are looking up and saying, hey, wait a minute.
They could be a role model.
Absolutely. Right? And so this is proof. It's not just about talking. So it's tough. And we've talked to the White House, we've talked to the Department of Justice about what are best practices. There is no simple answer, except they're all like, you got to get involved in their life early and make sure you get these kids interested in a world of, it's a tough job.
Now, if somebody's thinking about becoming a recruit for your particular police department, what kind of education background do they need?
So I think the best thing to do is if someone's like in high school and they're interested, we have the cadet program they can apply for, and and so we get people in the cadet program. They get trained. They start to get training. Our officers get to know them, and then when they're cadets and if they continue on, they want to go to school, they get accepted in school. We'll help pay for it. We'll help pay for their education. They become CSO, they become an officer.
Right.
And what happens is you have these officers who know these people for like 6 years.
Right.
When it comes time for them to be hired, they've already been molded, trained, and everybody knows them. It's a slam dunk as far as getting hired because we know them and we've trained them. Their whole life experience on being a police officer is based off what the department, which makes it very easy to say, we want this person.
Yeah, add them to our department.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's you can't undersell it. It takes a long time. I mean, when you're working with a 16-year-old, you won't see them become an officer until they're 22, 23. That's 6-7 years. And so you have to start that investment now.
Right. And then separate from the recruits and the diversity is your police department uses body cameras, right?
Yes.
Maybe you can talk a little bit about your experience in adding them and how it's working.
As I say, the thing I hate the most, and have agreed that we need as well. No, it's just for me, privacy concern. But what the body cameras do, I think, as much as anything, it gives both sides accountability. So the community can say, how do we know what the officers have proof, and they say, here's what happened, because now we have cameras. They're not a panacea. They don't answer every question.
Right.
The cameras go out at a certain angle that they don't pick up everything.
Right.
If they're close contact, the thing about cameras is they're non-emotional, right?
Yeah.
They don't pick up the emotion of the scene, what's happening.
Right.
And so a lot of this is actions, but they do give a good snapshot. And I think it's helped a lot where people will come to us and say, our officers did this. And we go back and review the footage.
Right.
And we'll ask the people who say this is what happened, look at the footage. And sometimes it's a perception, sometimes they're wrong. Sometimes we need to remind our officers on good training habits.
Certainly.
And so we do things like that. But you know what, with cell phones now, everybody's got a cell phone, right?
Oh, yes.
And so having those body cameras just helps.
Yeah, it kind of balances off.
No, we did a really great pilot before we adopted them. I believe it's still on our website, where you can actually see some fake video. But you can actually see that these cameras, people think, oh my God, they show everything and it's such a clear cut. And no, it's not. It can be.
It's a tool.
It's a tool. It's one option, but it doesn't answer everything. It won't solve.
But it is one that you felt was important.
It is.
Right.
It helps us. It's its simple fact is the city defends itself against lawsuits. And having video evidence helps.
Oh, it's a complicated world out there.
I wish we didn't have to have it, but that's not the way the world works.
Right. And then to go in a whole different area to have you kind of speculate, retail planning is changing, and so that maybe you can tell us how the empty businesses and shops affect a city like Brooklyn Park.
Yep. I think that no one knows what retail is going to be like. It's going to be less. I think it's pretty evident that with all the store closings, anybody thinks that the days of old are going to continue are flat wrong. One of the things we've been talking about, I've been talking a lot, is we want to plan for the next generation of retail in Brooklyn Park, not last one.
Right.
We missed it. It's not coming. Game over. Let's play the next game. Right? And so the next game is going to be more agile. Businesses are going to be able to put up shops quick and take them down. I think it's going to be more service oriented, where I may ship you product, and my store may have just a couple people working in it. And you might come in to talk to people. You might come to pick up your order, but most of your ordering is going to be online. I mean, people used to think, oh, I can order online because I can get it tomorrow. Amazon's effect is we've trained a bunch of customers to expect things in 2 days.
Right.
So I always think, if I was a retailer, I'd be like, hey, wait a minute. If I could just deliver stuff in 2 days, I can match Amazon. That's, to me, when I order stuff on Amazon, it's going to take 2 days for it to get here.
Right.
I've accepted that delay. So therefore, if I own a store, I don't need to have it stocked. But if you come in and want it, and I say I can have it to you tomorrow at your house, I think that's value. Some people want to see the item, but they don't have to lug it home with them, right? And if I only need to carry one item so they can see it, but I'm going to deliver it tomorrow, because what's the threat? I'm going to order off Amazon. Well, you're probably waiting 2 days.
Right.
I mean, my family, we're a Prime member. We order lots of stuff from Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
We order lots of stuff from Target.
There's a real changeover in attitudes towards ordering over the internet now.
And I think people, the Amazon effect has been the 2-day wait.
Yeah.
We've now cemented in that the customer's expectations are, they'll wait 2 days. Okay. That means people don't need to carry thousands of items.
Right.
Some stuff you do. But,
and
I think, the Amazon store, they're experimenting in the UK, which I think will come to the US soon, is 3 people in a store.
Yeah.
And we talk about business regulation.
Right.
Well, if I only need to have 3 people working in a store, so 60.
There are lots of
57
changes
jobs.
Lots
They're
of
not
changes
happening.
coming. Right.
Yes. Yep. So I think that's the. I think we as a society are missing the boat when it comes to. We're talking all about the $15 an hour, which is important. We're talking about all this stuff, but AI and robotics are going to wipe jobs out. They tend to say that they drive more jobs.
Yeah.
But they drive more jobs where people have to be trained for them. And so we should be really talking about we need to train our people for the fact that when
for the kinds of jobs that are coming down the road that aren't here yet.
Yep. And we're not having that discussion.
Yeah.
I've been tweeting like crazy about the fact that Brooklyn Park should not want the old retail.
Right.
It's going away.
Well, and malls may be becoming obsolete then.
Yep. I think they are. If you go to the mall nowadays, they're not about shopping. They're about events. They're about experiences.
Right.
There's not going to be another mall built, probably not in Minnesota.
And so they're having to rethink how to think outside the box, right?
Well, I think you asked a question about how does the effect of empty buildings on people, and we talked about how construction is booming in Brooklyn Park, and people have a feeling that this is really cool things are happening. I see new stores that makes people feel better. The opposite effect, where you see retail shutting down, stores closing. I mean, you have like Payless Shoes, 800 stores closing.
Right.
In 1 week, I think there was. I think it was 1 month, 30,000 stores across the country.
Yeah.
And they say that we're still over capacity.
Right.
So, in one way, for my city, being that we didn't catch the retail wave was bad for us. But we're missing
it might be
we're missing the big crash on the reef right now. That's
right.
happening. So
there's a lot of changes coming ahead.
Yes. I don't pretend to know what they are, but I still believe that if people are not looking at policies built on the fact that AI and robotics, they're here. And in 5 years, they're really going to be here.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let's talk a little bit about some up-and-coming events. You have Tater Days going on.
Yep.
And it's June 15th, 16th, and 17th.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about your citywide
Well, I think it's
celebration?
Yes, it's the best thing about it's all volunteer driven. So, it's not a staff driven thing. It's not a city driven thing. It's all volunteers or people who've done it for 30 years. And so everything is done by volunteers. And as I tell people, if you go to this year's Tater Days and you're like, God, they should have done this differently, you should immediately volunteer to be on the Tater Day, because everybody has an idea, solution afterwards, but everybody can join in. And so it's all volunteer driven. It's the most diverse volunteer group we have, and they try different things. And if something doesn't work, they throw it out and they try something this. So I think this year we won't be doing the carnival.
Okay.
Change. We've had a couple bad experiences. People from outside the city, and we know they're outside the city because when we arrest them, they're all from outside the city who make this their playground to settle some scores. And so we decided to give it a break for a little bit and kind of restructure it. And so we've just taken it offline, but there's still lots of fun things to do.
So what are some of the activities people can take part in?
Well, I think we still move the parade around. We're still trying to find the right spot.
Okay.
We have everything with potatoes because we're still about the potato festival.
And that goes back to your history?
Yes, exactly. People are like, why is this? And so, we talked about should we change that?
Yeah.
But then we thought, this is who we are. Everybody's got something, and you need something. So,
right.
And we have a couple of diversity dinners where there's lots of food from different cultures, because the beautiful thing about Brooklyn Park is all the different cultures.
Right.
And so everybody loves food,
Definitely.
and you can go see it that way. Lots of contests and things like that, some concerts and things. So I think
sports activities too.
Yes, absolutely, and also fireworks. So,
Ah.
and so people were starting to get a lot more.
Right.
Trying out different things, and I don't have a good list on what they're going to try new, but they always come up with something good.
So people can, and there's information. They have their own website, right?
Yes. Yep. So, and there's a link off the Brooklyn Park.
Yeah, but they can go into the Brooklyn Park one and get over to that one. Yep. So if anybody's thinking of volunteering, that's a good place.
Absolutely. I think, right now they're kind of locked and loaded. They're focused. They're getting to that touch run. But I think that if people go and they think, wish they'd really do something, please join, because you have, literally, you can go make that change if you think they should do something different, and they're all for it. So.
And then we're going to highlight a couple of things off of your Tater Days site. Is that on the 16th, which is a Saturday, there's a craft and business fair that people can go to.
Yep.
Now, all of this is at your Noble Sports Park,
yes,
right?
Yes, it is. Yep.
So maybe talk a little bit about the craft and business fair.
So I think, one, for crafters get together. I think the other part, we've been trying to grow a business thing where businesses come and kind of their services, kind of a way for small business owners to get out in front of lots of customers coming by.
Right,
and so people who are just starting a new business can get a table, God willing, no big rainstorms like last year. Right. But just to try to get people so they have the opportunity to get out there and do stuff and meet people, and then kind of show off, hey, I'm a local business person. I'm sell insurance, or I sell this, or I do work in your home if you need it, stuff like that. So just trying to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, kind of an interesting thing was because people are always interested in crafts, but the small businesses need the outreach too. So.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's just an opportunity for people, and I think we're kind of feeling our way through it, and so I think it's a really good idea. I'm glad the Tater Days is doing it.
Right. So it sounded like an interesting part of what's
come check
happening.
it out. If we don't get the massive rainstorm, I think last year we got the big pouring on that time, but it's a good time.
And then another thing is, you have an open house at the Edom Homestead, and it's like an original farm in the area. Yes,
working farm. Well, some are working, I guess, but farm animals and all that kind of stuff, so people can actually see how things are going. I think, too often now we have people who
don't know
think that everything comes to a grocery store, right?
Right.
And so this is kind of a chance for people to experience that and see, how old food is made, and just to see how food's grown and things like that. So we're just animals, chickens just don't arrive in a bucket. They actually have to be grown somewhere and things like that. So it's kind of a little history thing, and I think it's really good for kids to get out in nature and also to see where the food comes from.
Right. And now, where is that farm located?
It's just up on Noble.
Okay.
So I believe it's 101st in Noble, right across from Salvation Army. By Athlos Academy, those are two nearby. If people hit that, it's just right there in the corner, and it's kind of a great time.
And they're going to have tours of the farm. Yes. There'll be demonstrations.
And people dressed up.
Hay rides and people in costumes.
Yep. No, I think it's a good time. It's just, I think it's really important, I know with my two sons, for them to actually see how stuff is done. Right. I think, especially the younger generation, those youngins, right? Right. But don't know how things are done.
Yeah.
And so just the idea of how is food grown, how has stuff arrived? Some of these kids have never been to a farm.
Right.
Have no idea how things are done. And so.
A good opportunity.
Yes. As I always tell my sons, if you want to survive the zombie apocalypse, you need to prepare. And so learning how the food is actually prepared and to see how this stuff actually works, it's important.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time and your experience and helping people out there learn more about what's happening in the city of Brooklyn Park. We'll encourage you to tune in next week for part 2 of Brooklyn Park's issues. And we're glad that you've been with us, and we hope you'll come back. Bye.